Hey guys, it is me, the Trayman himself, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your own shift detection, which you can use for your own commands, and even a basic ray tracing system from the example I'll be using today. So to start off this video, I'm going to show you guys a little creation that I made with my shift detection and a bit of ray tracing. So as you can see, wherever I look, a wall will appear. But this wall is actually compiled of the blocks beneath the wall. Oh, give me a second. Oh man, I'm missing. There you go, see? So it's includes all of these blocks up to 3, and you can make a wall. And it's really fun, and you can be really fast at it. And it actually pulls all the blocks that are underneath it to the surface, basically allowing you to make a basic earth wall ability, and that's why I called it that. And yeah, so I'll show you guys how to make this basic idea and how to make this sneaking system. So with the new update where new sneaking was added, I'm pretty sure that was either 1.19 or 1.20. I don't know which one exactly, I'm sorry. But they added in a hitbox change to the player when they start to sneak, which was what we needed to be able to detect sneak detection. Prior to this update and prior to this sneaking change, there was no way to detect when the player sneaked unless they were using a shield, and you had to do like a whole slash damage thing. It was a mess, and it was really hard to use. But with the more recent updates, this is a system that you can now use. So we're going to start with this idea here that we always have a shift score of 0. So by default, the score is always set to 0 for all players. Now we detect if the player entity has a Y here of 1.51 and a DY of 0. And that will change when it will detect. So, it detects if it isn't this, but only when it's this. So, basically, the idea is that it's detecting a height change of the player's hitbox and detecting if this no longer applies, this Y level. Why? I don't really fully get it, because this wasn't my original command or something that I discovered, but I was given this discovery by one of my friends. I'm pretty sure it was Crunchy Cookie, and shout out to him. But this was the command that he gave me, and it works, and you guys can use it as well. I don't fully understand how it works, and I'll be honest about that, but you guys can do what you need with that. So this idea here, this execute here, detects when the player has begun to sneak. Then it will change their shift score to 1. So now for the rest of this command, the player is considered shifting if this command applies. Otherwise, it's always set to 0. And just to prove that, we have this: if it's shift 0, it's going to display a raw text of not sneaking. And if the shift score applies when it is changed to 1, means the player is sneaking, it will display as such on the player's action bar using a title raw. So now we can do something really cool. So we execute off of all players who have a shift 1 score, and if they have an item, this item specifically is a clay ball, and it has to be in the player's main hand, and if its data value is 1, then and this tag doesn't apply, we'll get to that later, then it runs the rest of this command. It anchors the command position, like where it starts from the eyes of the player. So it starts from like where my eyes are, like where I'm looking. So this is a ray tracing thing. And it runs a summon command, which also, this facing feature is very new to commands as well. With the summon, you no longer need to teleport the bat to face where the player is facing. You can just summon them facing where the player is facing, give them a name, and yeah, you can do what you need from that. We'll get to the rest later. I just wanted to quickly mention how these data value things work. So let me go ahead and give myself a clay ball. So when you give yourself a normal item, its data value will always be 0. And so this clay ball has a data value of 0. If I sneak with it, nothing happens. But if I give myself a clay ball of 1, 1, but you have to make sure you have none of that same item in your inventory, because it just kind of randomly overrides it, which is weird, but now you could see it works. And you do this for the security, to make sure that you need to have a specific item given by commands. You can't just like harvest this item, like you can't just mine a block of clay and then start using this ability. Also, the shift detection does not work while you're flying, but it does work while you're falling, so that's interesting. Anyway, so now so we just got past here, so we go here, and you don't need this part of the command. This just gives the tag ABA to the player, and so I don't really know what the acronym for this was. I just kind of made it up. But the idea with ABA is that if this is active, then you can't use the ability. So basically, it's like when you shift, so it wouldn't constantly do the ability over and over again while you're shifting. But by the end of this command, it will remove that tag. So only when you stop shifting. So you can use that ability every time you shift. It's not constantly proccing or working when the player is just sneaking, because otherwise you're just going to summon a million bats and that's going to cause problems. Anyway, so for the rest of these commands, well, not for the rest, but for most of them, they are just a teleport that applies to the bat of a 0.5. It teleports 0.5 with true, and you have to make sure that it's the correct name of the bat. You don't have to use a bat, you can use an armor stand, but I use a bat because it's like its hitbox is way smaller. And I don't know, it seems like it's more of a ray tracing thing. And it's also a lot of people who do commands use bats for some reason. So, I mean, it was a little technique that I learned that was interesting, and I decided to keep that. But you might be asking, why doesn't it just fly off in some random direction that it spawns in facing? Well, we actually made it spawn in facing where the player was facing 100 blocks forward. So it keeps the player's trajectory, like where they're looking. It literally will draw a line to keep going straight, based off of its spawning facing position. And you can do this with armor stands, by the way, I'm fairly certain. And these commands all do the same thing. It has like 20 of these commands for this teleport. So, and it allows you to basically go a longer distance. You could actually, instead of doing a whole bunch of these commands, if this is the reason why I did these many, is so that it will go instantly not 20 blocks, it's actually 10 blocks, but it goes 10 blocks instantly, which is very efficient for a single tick ability. But if you don't care about how many ticks it will take, you can just have one of these commands and then have like a scoreboard here. So it's like, if its score is 0 through 99, if you really wanted to make it move like 50 blocks, that's how you do it. And then you would add a score to the bat every tick alongside this command, so it would just constantly teleport forward until its score reaches 100, and when it does, then it's going to stop. And then afterwards, you can kill it. The way I kill it is different, though. So this command here executes at the bat. So unless the block, half a block under it is air, so that means that's in the air. Because if it's in the air, it shouldn't be pulling up anything. But if there's at least half a block of no air, then it runs this command. It will go ahead and clone from its position 3 blocks down, and it will move it. It will do mass to move to its position, which will just move 3 blocks underneath it to where it's at. And that will just work for this particular example. And then it will detect again if half a block under it is not air, unless it basically is not. And then it will give itself the tag done bend, which applies to here. Just in case you wanted to have like a system that doesn't kill it, you could, and then like unless it's touching the ground, and that's how you would do it. But I kind of scrapped that idea, but whatever. Anyway, so because what I do afterwards is I teleport it unconditionally to a specific coordinate, 0, 0, and then I just make it constantly go -10 blocks down, so there is no death sound effect, and it will just die in the void on its own. You can do this with a bigger value or whatever, it's up to you. That's just kind of how I did it. And then after this, when the player's score is shift 0, so that means they're not sneaking, it removes the tag ABA, because it will not summon a bat unless the player is sneaking. So you see, as I am I'm constantly sneaking right now, nothing is happening. When I stand up and then sneak again, it works again. So that's the idea of this command. And yeah, so if you like this video, please subscribe. It would be really great if you did. Comment down below what you want to see for my next video. I hope this was informative and that you found it interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.